Did you catch this ink-inspiring fact? Almost 1 in every 3 people sports a tattoo, and among the younger crowd it skyrockets to over 40%. Welcome back as we dive into the fascinating world of tattoos using real human skin as our guide. We'll reveal the secrets of tattoo anatomy, how they work, which skin layer welcomes the ink, and why our bodies don't rebel against this ink invasion. Ever wondered why tattoos claim to be permanent when some factors can make them fade over time? Join us on this journey as we explore, decode, and demystify the curious world of tattoos. We've got some incredible questions to answer, so let's get started. Let's break down how tattoos work by understanding the layers of our skin. Our skin is part of the integumentary system, consisting of 3 main layers: the epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis. These layers are like different sections in a sandwich. The epidermis is the top layer, the dermis is the middle layer, and the hypodermis, also known as the subcutaneous layer, is the bottom layer. It's important to note that each layer is made of completely different tissues. As we examine these layers on the skin, we discover a crucial aspect related to tattoos and ink deposition. The epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis each have their own unique tissues, influencing how ink interacts with them. This diversity in tissues affects the permanence of the ink and how the tattoo works. It's like how different ingredients affect the taste of a sandwich. Understanding these variations in tissues is the key to unlocking the secrets of tattoos, revealing how ink becomes a lasting part of our skin. Let's explore the epidermis and how it connects with tattoo ink. In one skin graft, we're looking at the outer layer, the actual epidermis. Even though it seems thin, the epidermis is a vital shield, with up to 50 layers of cells. It's interesting for aesthetic students, as they will clearly notice details like freckles and sun damage, showcasing the uniqueness of this layer. The epidermis is mainly made of epithelial tissue, a densely packed layer of cells. Despite appearing thin to our eyes, at about 0.1 millimeters, the bottom layers of epithelial tissue keep replicating. When one cell copies itself, one of the copies moves to the top, creating a continuous cycle. The protective and regenerative features of the epidermis play a vital role in the lasting impact of tattoos. Every single day, our skin engages in an extraordinary ballet, orchestrating a continuous renewal process. It all unfolds in the bottom layers of the epidermis, the outermost layer of our skin. Here, cells undergo a fascinating duplication routine. As a new copy emerges, the original gets nudged upwards, creating an unending cycle of regeneration. This ongoing journey sees these cells gradually move towards the surface. Along the way, they flatten out and eventually succumb to death, forming a protective barrier that shields us from the wear and tear of friction and abrasion. Surprisingly, we shed over 1 million of these cells each day. While this might sound a bit unsettling from an anatomical perspective, it's a truly inspiring process. Now let's connect this intricate dance of skin renewal with the world of tattoos. The epidermis, unfortunately, isn't the most conducive layer for tattooing due to its constant shedding. Despite this, some ink manages to find its place in the epidermis. However, due to the relentless upward migration of cells, any ink deposited in this layer eventually flakes off within a span of 4 weeks. Diving deeper, we encounter the dermis, the layer nestled beneath the epidermis, a linchpin in the art of tattooing. Unlike the epidermis, the dermis consists of dense, irregular connective tissue, providing a stable and enduring canvas for ink. This unique tissue nature allows the ink to stay embedded for many years, offering what we perceive as a permanent tattoo. If you could observe your skin magically, you would see a clear distinction between the epidermal layer or epidermis and the dermis. It's crucial to note that these are different tissues, each with its unique characteristics. While the epidermis is densely packed with numerous cells, the dermis, in contrast, displays only a few scattered cells within the spaces between various structures. Fibrocytes, the cells responsible for producing collagen, a protein abundant in the human body, play a crucial role in this process. The fiber orientation of collagen is evident. Various lines crisscrossing in different directions depict the dense, irregular connective tissue nature of the dermis. This structural arrangement grants the skin strength, allowing it to withstand pulls from every conceivable direction. However, the dermis isn't solely composed of fibrocytes and collagen. Sweat glands, blood vessels, nerve endings, and even hair follicles from the epidermis contribute to its diverse composition. Understanding this anatomy provides insights into how tattoos interact with this layer. Ink is intricately deposited into the dermis, where a substantial portion becomes suspended in the collagen matrix. Additionally, some ink is absorbed by the fibrocytes, the cellular architects of collagen. This intricate interplay between ink and the dermis unveils the magic behind how tattoos persist within our skin canvas. The knowledge of this anatomical dance enriches our appreciation for the artistry involved in creating a lasting tattoo. When you get a tattoo, it's not just about the needle and ink, it's also about your body's immune response. Picture this. The needle punctures your skin anywhere from 50 to 3,000 times per minute, causing trauma and injecting a foreign substance. When our body faces trauma or encounters a foreign substance, our immune system kicks in, activating the inflammatory process. Inflammation brings white blood cells to the site, dealing with injury, infection, or foreign substances. Precisely what happens during tattooing. These white blood cells, particularly macrophages, leave the blood vessels, roaming through the tissue. Macrophages are like tiny engulfing cells that usually take up viruses, bacteria, or dead tissue. In the case of tattoos, they try to engulf the ink, a process known as phagocytosis. Normally, after engulfing something, a white blood cell breaks it down and digests it. But here's the catch. Ink may contain substances like dye or plastics that our immune system struggles to break down effectively. Recent research suggests that instead of breaking it down, white blood cells isolate and contain the ink, preventing it from spreading to other body areas. Imagine those white blood cells holding onto the ink and even engulfing dead fibrocytes, keeping the ink within them. You can see this through the skin's surface, creating the lasting tattoo effect. The concept is fascinating. White blood cells act as guardians, ensuring the ink stays in the tattooed area. If you're curious like me, you might wonder how a tattoo ink stays in your skin for so long. Tattoos are considered relatively permanent, but white blood cells, known as macrophages, play a fascinating role in this process. When macrophages engulf the ink during tattooing, they eventually die and release the ink. But here's the kicker. A new macrophage steps in to engulf that released ink. It's like a continuous cycle of engulfing, releasing, and engulfing again, maintaining the tattoo in that specific area. The prevailing theory is that we aim to contain the ink, and it does a good job. Tattoos stay put. However, you might notice that tattoos fade over time. There are a couple of theories behind this. When a macrophage dies and releases ink, the incoming macrophage engulfs most of it, but smaller broken down ink particles may find their way into the lymphatic vessels. Biopsies on distant lymph nodes have shown traces of tattoo ink, contributing to the gradual fading of tattoos over time. UV light exposure can also play a role in fading tattoos, breaking down the ink. Despite these changes, tattoos remain relatively permanent. Now, some might worry about the phrase foreign substance that is injected into the body during tattooing. Should you be concerned about getting or having a tattoo? Not really. The concept of foreign substances is common in various medical procedures like surgeries, knee replacements, or metal rods for fractures and bone support. So, tattoos, in comparison, pose minimal concern. We've tackled the primary layer crucial for tattoos, the dermis. Yet we haven't forgotten the epidermis, dermis, and the hypodermis or subcutaneous layer. The hypodermis, composed of adipose tissue or fatty tissue, is vital for certain tattoo-related issues, particularly blowout. This occurs when tattoo lines start to blur. In our skin dissection, the yellowy tissue you see is the hypodermis, a different tissue layer responsible for providing a cushioning effect due to its fatty nature. Now let's dive into the peculiar nature of the hypodermis or subcutaneous layer, a fatty tissue that interacts differently with tattoo ink. Due to its oily nature, ink penetration into this layer can cause the lines to blur, creating a dissipating effect. Think about how oils such as fats and other liquids interact. It's akin to why ink might blur in this layer. Skin thickness plays a crucial role in the risk of tattoo blurring. If you would compare two cadaver dissections from the same individual, one from the mid-back and the other from the lower leg, you would realize a significant difference in dermis thickness. The mid-back section appears sturdier, while the lower leg's dermis is notably thinner. Tattoo artists often emphasize that the pressure applied during tattooing influences whether a line blurs or experiences blowout. The thickness of the skin in different regions matters. Areas like the mid-back provide more room for error, while thinner-skinned regions like the lower leg are more susceptible to ink seeping into the hypodermis and causing blurring. Applying more pressure, especially in thinner-skinned areas, may increase the likelihood of ink reaching the hypodermis and causing blurred lines or blowout. In summary, we've traversed all three skin layers, underscoring how the tissue's nature crucially influences tattoo ink behavior. The epidermis sheds anything in its cells after approximately 4 weeks, while the dermis provides the most stable canvas for enduring and crisp artwork. However, the hypodermis introduces a potential risk of ink bleeding out or blurring due to its adipose and oily composition. What do you think? Share with us in the comments section. Be sure to subscribe and activate the notifications bell. Thank you for watching.